Hello, my dear educators. This is Meenakshi Narula, founder and CEO at Mentoring the Mentors, an institute that accelerates your learning curve. So, my lovely educator, in my previous video on feedback matters, I talked about what is feedback, why is it essential, what are the basic components of a good feedback. Okay, so we talked about the checklist also. Feedback should be specific, it should have actionables, it should be given timely and proper time to be given to the children to incorporate that feedback. So today we're gonna discuss more about this feedback. In front of you, there are like two different kinds of feedbacks given to two different children based on the same test that they appeared in. So Mathli is a child who scored 13 out of 20, and the teacher has observed some of the improvement areas and tried to give feedback to the child. Like there has been a great improvement in the content and the vocabulary. Detailed information has been provided. Wonderful. So now one suggestion, support your explanations with example. This is one actionable given. Tenses were consistently used. Bravo. Now make it more engaging by focusing on the organization and sequence of event is required to be focused on. So means I hope you all would agree this kind of feedback where we are talking about the goal is very clear. Actionables have been defined. You have appreciated also about the child's progress, and it is given timely because it is immediately after the exam. When you are discussing, exams are over, and after that, the child is having sufficient time to incorporate the feedback given by the teacher in the upcoming exams, right? So now there's another child, Parth, who scored 17 out of 20, and the teacher was quite impressed with the performance of the child. And the teacher has given a feedback, your work is excellent, right? And selection of the words is a great move. Keep it up and score as high as you can. Now, you tell me, is it effective feedback? When you are expecting, you have set your expectations, you want your child to score as high as he can. And you are appreciating like the wonderful selection of the words, wonderful work. No, but where are the actionables? They are not there. Generally, to our students, we give second type of feedback. We say excellent, wonderful, bravo, well done. Right? Now, what about this child path? Can't we give some kind of suggestions where the child will be able to show some kind of improvement? Like sky is the limit. I hope you agree. How the child will be able to score high? Suggest some of the areas of improvement. Now, my dear teachers, you might be wondering, like, it's not possible for us to give detailed information to each and every child on each and every area. How is this to be done? What could be the way for it? So just have a look at the screen. Now, first of all, the level of detail. Level of detail, it will vary from child to child. It will vary from teacher to teacher. It will vary from subject to subject. It will vary from, you see, as per the child's current level, where the child is at present. What is the goal? What is the learning gap? How many milestones the child has to achieve to reach the child's target, the given target. So for that, you have to give the actionables accordingly. You have to identify the learning gaps, first of all. Okay, so that will vary. Now, area of focus. Instead of giving feedback on all the areas, choose one or two focus areas. So suppose you are talking about spelling, you're talking about presentation. Now, every time you can't talk about 10 different areas to be focused on. It's not possible for the child. It's not possible for you also to analyze all the different areas. So focus on at least one to two areas at a time. Once the child achieves those areas, you can go ahead with the next one. Now, let's talk about the mode of feedback. How the feedback is to be given. I've already shared there are three basically modes of sharing the feedback. It can be verbal, it can be through gestures, it can be in the written format. Now, you can either give a mixture of both or a mixture of, you see, all the three types of feedback to your students. You have to look at the age of the children also. The little children who will not be able to read what all detailed explanation you have given. Maybe their vocabulary is also less. So the choice of words should be also appropriate for you all. So accordingly, make sure you go ahead with the feedback. For the junior classes, basically it should be a mix of both. Some of the points you should mention in the paper so that the parents can go through, and the teacher should be able to explain some of the points verbally also to the students, right? So now, my dear educators, if you conduct a classroom discussion during your period, during your subject, for that, when you observe something, is it possible for you to give detailed feedback to each and every child based on the child's performance, based on the child's participation in the discussion? No, this won't be. For that, you can use this strategy. You can divide the feedback into three steps. First of all, a whole class feedback. As a teacher, during the classroom discussion, if I observed my children, they are not taking part in the group's discussion, they do not volunteer for it, they're not able to cite examples, or maybe they are not cooperating with each other. So likewise, I will be able to give that kind of feedback to the entire class. When my children, they are sitting in different groups, A, B, C, D, there are 4 groups suppose in the class, and I observe like group A needs to focus on presentation, group B needs to focus on communication skills, group C has to critically evaluate the things, right? So accordingly, I will be able to go to a particular group, and then I will be able to share the feedback with that particular group. Now, here is the individual feedback also. Like in a particular group, I may observe like there is one child who has not taken part in the discussion, who was quiet during discussion, or maybe a child was quite mischievous and he was not letting others participate in the discussion or with some kinds of activities. So while talking to a group, I can talk to the child, or if the child is quite sensitive, so you have to talk to the child in private, right? Ask him to come to you during your free periods, and then you can talk to the child like this is the point where you need to improve, right? So need not to discuss that point in front of the group or maybe the entire class. This we need to take care of. Now, my lovely educators, there are a few tips that you should take care of while giving the feedback to your children. First of all, the goal of effective feedback. Now, the goal should be very, very clear. I mean, that goal should not be ambiguous. The goal should not be that much broad. You have to narrow down it to maybe you see 1 or 2 focus areas, and accordingly, you should give the feedback to your children. And the mode of feedback, the feedback that you give, it has to be in a format which will be understood by the child. For example, providing feedback it will not effective if the child is unable to read the given feedback, maybe because of your choice of words, right? So it should be efficient when it is a combination of both. One group at a time. For large classroom discussions, as I've already shared with you, you have to divide your feedback into 3 parts: whole class, group wise, and at individual level. Now make it conversational. Don't be just always it should not be a kind of like the child is a passive listener and you are continuously speaking, beta you have to do this, beta I expect this from you, you have to improve this. You have to ask the child also what was the reason why the child behaved like that. Or maybe you may ask the child like, this is what I have observed and I want this kind of change, how you can do it, what is your plan for that. So make it conversational. Now sandwich kind of feedback is really you see wonderful and it works good. You should appreciate the child for the progress whatever the child has achieved so far, and then you should start with the actionables. What do you expect the child to do further? So my lovely educators, giving effective feedback is not end of the road to you see improved some student performance. We must make sure the students, they are working on the feedback, and this is a continuous process. Usually what happens, let me tell you, during our exams, at the end of the exam, maybe it's half yearly, but generally at the end of the year, after final examination, we give a detailed report to our parents. Like your child, we even divide it into 3 steps also. There is journal feedback related to the behavior of the child, behavior feedback related to academics, feedback related to activities. We divide it and we share it with the parents. Now, when will the child improve? If you will be giving the feedback and the child is being promoted to the next class, new teacher, new subject, everything new, when will the child improve? So make sure you give this feedback at various intervals and make it consistent and continuous. So my lovely educators, sandwich technique, as I've already shared with you, that works wonders. Praise, it's written criticism, but actually it is a kind of feedback, it's a kind of suggestion. Okay, and in case generally also, if you want to talk to someone, you should like that, okay, this is really good, but I want if you can improve like that, nothing like that. Okay, so then you will be able to achieve your goal. So praise, and then instead of criticism, here I want to use the word your feedback, the instruction part, the how part. Okay, and then again praise. So my lovely educators, there is one video on my channel also. This is 2 stars and a wish. This is one of the techniques to provide the feedback, as we talked about sandwich technique. Likewise, it is 2 stars and a wish. Talk about 2 positive points of the child and suggest one area of improvement for your child. So my dear educators, let's be patient and consistent. Work with a clear goal in mind and constantly make the process more efficient as we go further. Subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and don't forget to share your valuable feedback in the comment section below. I would be highly pleased if you share your feedback comments in the section below. I mean the kind of feedback based on the strategies I have shared with you. Maybe 2 stars and a wish. Maybe you can go for a sandwich strategy. Maybe you can go for the 3 factors of a great feedback. That is, should be timely, it should have actionables, it should be accurate. Let me see if you can cite a few examples in the comment section below. Bye-bye from Meenakshi Narula, and in upcoming videos, I'll be coming up with more strategies to provide feedback to our students. See, they say feedback is the breakfast of the champions. So bye-bye, all of you. Thank you.